This world is our hell.
When they fall from 8-foot ladders, crushing bones and spilling blood onto the ring, putting their body on the line for our entertainment, our beloved WWE superstars seemed unstoppable. But deep inside, some of them were battling real demons.
WWE superstar Chris Benoit, his wife Nancy, and their son Daniel are dead.
Authorities in Fayetteville, Georgia have confirmed that the deaths of pro wrestler Chris Benoit and his family were a result of a double murder-suicide.
We have now looked at this case and ruling it as a double homicide-suicide.
In the case of Chris Benoit, the circumstances surrounding his death were so tragic and disturbing that WWE treated him like Voldemort. His name became unspeakable. For one reason or the other, they have also chosen to hide the death of some other superstars. Chris Benoit.
Nothing from the WWE, under any set of circumstances, had anything at all to do with Chris Benoit murdering his family. How did we know that Chris Benoit would turn into a monster?
On June 25, 2007, the professional wrestling world was brought to a standstill by a tragedy that would forever alter its landscape.
World in shock today. Former champion Chris Benoit found dead in his Atlanta home along with his wife and young son. Police now treating the discovery as a double murder-suicide.
Chris Benoit, a man celebrated for his in-ring prowess, was found dead in his Fayetteville, Georgia home. The circumstances surrounding his death were as shocking as they were heartbreaking. Over a 3-day period, Benoit had taken the lives of his wife, Nancy, and 7-year-old son, Daniel, before ending his own life. The news sent shockwaves through the wrestling community and beyond, leaving fans and colleagues struggling to comprehend the actions of a man they thought they knew. The details that emerged were chilling. Authorities reported that Nancy Benoit had been bound and asphyxiated on a Friday, while Daniel had been sedated and suffocated in his bed the following day. On Sunday, Chris Benoit took his own life using a weight machine in his home gym. The sequence of events was pieced together through a timeline that included text messages sent by Benoit to fellow wrestlers and friends, which at first did not raise immediate concern until the gravity of the situation became clear. The wrestling world was in a state of disbelief. World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE, which had initially announced Benoit's absence from a scheduled event due to a family emergency, quickly became the focal point of media scrutiny. As details of the deaths became public, WWE made the decision to cancel its live broadcast of Monday Night Raw to air a tribute to Benoit's career. This decision, made before the full extent of the tragedy was known, would later become a point of contention and regret for the organization. In the immediate aftermath, WWE Chairman Vince McMahon appeared on television to address the situation. McMahon made it clear that WWE would no longer mention Benoit's name on its programming.
Therefore, other than my comments, there will be no mention of Mr. Benoit's name tonight.
The media coverage was relentless.
What made pro wrestling champion Chris Benoit snap? Why did this in-the-ring good guy kill his wife and their young son and then hang himself?
News outlets delved into Benoit's personal life, searching for clues that could explain the incomprehensible. Speculation ran rampant, with theories ranging from steroid abuse to brain damage from repeated concussions. The term roid rage became a buzzword as reports surfaced about anabolic steroids found in Benoit's home, leading to a broader discussion about the culture of performance-enhancing drugs in professional wrestling. The wrestling community mourned, but it also faced a reckoning. Colleagues and fans grappled with their memories of Benoit, trying to reconcile the man they admired in the ring with the one who had committed such unspeakable acts.
No, I mean, that was what made it so horrible, is nobody saw it coming. Chris was a great guy, and he was an honorable guy. Like, if I had to leave my kids with somebody for the weekend on an emergency, I would have no problems leaving them with Chris.
The industry was forced to confront uncomfortable questions about the mental and physical toll of professional wrestling, the support systems in place for performers, and the potential consequences of untreated injuries and mental health issues. WWE's decision to distance itself from Benoit was met with mixed reactions. Some understood the need to separate the organization from the actions of an individual, while others felt it was an attempt to erase a troubled man from history rather than address the underlying issues that may have contributed to the tragedy. Perro Aguayo Jr.
Officials in Tijuana, Mexico want to know why a pro wrestler died after a match against a former WWE star.
The night of March 20th, 2015 was etched into the annals of wrestling history with a somber stroke. In Tijuana, Mexico, fans gathered at the Auditorio Municipal for a tag team match that featured some of the most prominent figures in lucha libre. Perro Aguayo Jr. was set to team up with Manic against the duo of Rey Mysterio Jr. and Extreme Tiger. The air was thick with anticipation as the crowd awaited the performance of these titans of the ring. The match commenced with the usual fanfare and fervor that accompanied lucha libre events. The wrestlers showcased their athleticism and skill, engaging in a choreographed dance of strength and agility. Perro Aguayo Jr., true to his character, fought with the heart of a warrior, his every move resonating with the audience that had come to adore him. As the match progressed, the intensity increased. Perro Aguayo Jr. and Rey Mysterio Jr. found themselves locked in a struggle that had the crowd on their feet. It was during this exchange that the unthinkable happened. Rey Mysterio Jr. performed a move known as the 619, designed to swing between the ropes and kick the opponent. Perro Aguayo Jr. was meant to evade this attack, setting up the next sequence of the match. However, in a moment that will forever be shrouded in tragedy, Perro Aguayo Jr. did not get up to continue the match. At first, it seemed like part of the show, another example of the wrestler's ability to sell a move. But as seconds turned into minutes, it became apparent that something was terribly wrong. Perro Aguayo Jr. was motionless, slumped against the ropes. At first, it did seem like Rey was concerned about his sparring partner, but he soon shrugged it off, and this would turn out to be a fatal mistake. Everyone was so lethargic about the whole situation. It was not until the fight ended, 2 minutes after he was unconscious, that Perro received medical attention. But what was weird was that the show just went on like nothing happened. Unsurprisingly, Perro Aguayo Jr. had passed away. The cause of death was later determined to be cervical spine trauma. The news of Perro Aguayo Jr.'s death sent shockwaves through the wrestling world. Fans and fellow wrestlers alike were left reeling, struggling to comprehend how a scripted match could end in such a tragedy. The incident raised serious questions about the safety protocols in professional wrestling, particularly in Mexico, where the sport is a cultural staple. Owen Hart.
Canadian Owen Hart, known as the Blue Blazer, was killed performing a pre-match stunt.
Hart's career was a tapestry of championship glory and memorable rivalries. He captured the hearts of fans worldwide with his high-flying maneuvers and his underdog persona. Throughout the 1980s and 90s, Owen amassed a collection of titles, including the Intercontinental Championship and the World Tag Team Championship, etching his name in the annals of wrestling history. As the 1990s drew to a close, Owen continued to perform at the highest level, despite the grueling demands of the wrestling schedule. His dedication to the sport and his fans was unwavering. However, unbeknownst to all, the stage was being set for a tragic turn. The date was May 23, 1999, and the venue was the Kemper Arena in Kansas City, Missouri. It was the night of the Over the Edge pay-per-view event, where Owen Hart, as the Blue Blazer, was scheduled to make a grand entrance from the rafters. This stunt was meant to be a spectacular display, one that would captivate the audience and add to the theatrics that professional wrestling is known for. Little did anyone know, this performance would be his last. The atmosphere at the Over the Edge pay-per-view event was electric, with fans eagerly anticipating a night of high-stakes wrestling entertainment. Owen Hart, in his Blue Blazer superhero persona, was set to face the Godfather for the Intercontinental Championship. The plan was for Hart to make a superhero-like entrance, descending from the rafters of the arena to the ring. This type of spectacle was not new to the wrestling world, but it required meticulous preparation and the utmost attention to safety protocols. In the hours leading up to the event, the crew worked diligently to set up the rigging that would lower Hart to the ring. The stunt involved a quick-release mechanism designed to allow Hart to detach himself from the harness and make a dramatic landing in the ring. However, the equipment used for this stunt was different from the more secure harnesses he had used in previous descents. As the time for the stunt approached, Hart was fitted into the harness and the quick-release mechanism. With the audience's attention turned to the Jumbotron, the final checks were made, and Hart was hoisted up to the rafters, ready for his entrance. The excitement in the arena was palpable, but in a heart-stopping moment, something went horribly wrong. The quick-release mechanism was triggered prematurely, and Owen Hart fell over 78 feet, landing chest-first on the top rope before collapsing into the ring. The arena fell into a stunned silence as medical personnel rushed to the ring. Broadcasters, unaware of the severity of the situation, initially believed it to be part of the show. However, it quickly became apparent that this was no act. As emergency medical technicians administered CPR to Hart in the ring, the event's producers were faced with a critical decision. The live pay-per-view broadcast broadcast was cut to a video package as they attempted to address the dire situation unfolding before the live audience. The saddest part about this incident was that they carried on with the show.
Vince McMahon had dropped Shane McMahon from the ceiling, and he splatted on the mat. I don't think he would have scraped him off the mat and sent the next match out.
According to Brett, Owen's brother Vince was so insensitive to the matter that as they wheeled his dead brother off the stage, Shane kept on pushing fighters onto the stage.
I actually know firsthand from the wrestlers involved that they wheeled my dead brother right past all the wrestlers, and actually pushed wrestlers out the door and said, "Go, go, go, you're on."
Darren Alexander Drozdov. From a young age, Drozdov exhibited a natural talent for sports, a trait that would define his early years and set the stage for his future endeavors. As a towering teenager at 6 feet 3 inches and weighing 240 pounds, Drozdov dominated the high school football fields as a formidable option quarterback. His physicality was not limited to the gridiron. He also excelled in track and field, showcasing his versatility in shot put, javelin, and discus. Remarkably, he even earned a spot in the state track meet as a 110-meter high hurdles, a testament to his athletic agility. After high school, Drozdov's talent ushered him into the ranks of collegiate athletics, where he donned the colors of the Maryland Terrapins. As a defensive tackle, he became a force to be reckoned with, his name echoing in the corridors of the university's storied athletic department. It was here, at the University of Maryland, that Drozdov honed his skills, both physical and mental, preparing for the challenges that lay ahead. Upon graduating, Drozdov's journey took him to the National Football League, where he played briefly for teams like the Denver Broncos and the New York Jets. His time in the NFL was a period of growth, but it was also a prelude to a more dramatic chapter in his life. It was during this period that Drozdov gained a degree of infamy after an incident on Monday Night Football, where in a moment that would become a highlight reel staple, he vomited on the football prior to the center, snapping the pigskin. This peculiar event earned him the nickname Puke, a moniker that would stick with him and catch the attention of a very different kind of audience. The world of professional wrestling, with its blend of athleticism and showmanship, was on the lookout for unique and charismatic individuals. Drozdov's unusual claim to fame brought him into the orbit of WWE Chairman Vince McMahon, a man known for his keen eye for talent and spectacle. When Drozdov met with McMahon, he lived up to his nickname by vomiting in the chairman's trash can during his audition, an act that was captured on camera and sealed his fate as a future WWE superstar. Drozdov's transition from the football field to the wrestling ring was a natural progression of his athletic career. In WWE, he found a new arena to showcase his strength and character. His persona was larger than life, and his presence was felt immediately by fans and fellow wrestlers alike. He was not just another athlete, he was a performer who brought a unique flair to the world of professional wrestling. The date was October 5th, 1999, a night that was supposed to be like any other in the world of WWE. The Nassau Coliseum was buzzing with excitement, fans eagerly anticipating the spectacle of athleticism and drama that is professional wrestling. Darren Drozdov, known to the world as Droz, was scheduled to face off against D'Lo Brown, a veteran grappler with years of experience in the ring. The match was set, and both athletes were prepared to entertain the crowd with their prowess. Little did anyone know that this match would be etched into the annals of wrestling history for a tragic reason. The atmosphere was electric as Drozdov and Brown squared off, the audience cheering and jeering in equal measure. As the match progressed, a routine maneuver was called, a power bomb, a common but impactful move where a wrestler lifts his opponent onto his shoulders and then slams them down to the mat. It was a move that both Drozdov and Brown had performed countless times before. However, this time, something went horribly wrong. In a split second, as Brown executed the powerbomb, Drozdov's body did not rotate as expected. His head struck the mat with a sickening thud, and the 6'3", 280-pound athlete lay motionless in the center of the ring. The crowd fell silent, the energy of moments ago replaced by a palpable sense of dread. Medical personnel rushed to Drozdov's side as the severity of the situation became apparent. The match was immediately stopped, and Drozdov was carefully stretchered out of the arena, his wrestling career coming to an abrupt and devastating end. Drozdov had become a quadriplegic, with essentially no movement below his neck. The wrestling community was in shock. Fans and wrestlers alike struggled to come to terms with the severity of Drozdov's injury. The man who had been a symbol of strength and vitality was now facing the toughest battle of his life. life. In the immediate aftermath of the accident, support poured in from all corners of the wrestling world. The WWE, led by Vince McMahon, pledged to support Drozdov in any way possible. Fellow wrestlers visited him in the hospital, offering words of encouragement and solidarity. The fans, who had cheered for Drozdov's victories in the ring, now sent thousands of letters and messages of support, hoping for a miracle. D'Lo Brown, the man involved in the fateful move, was devastated. Wrestling is a brotherhood, and despite the inherent risks of their profession, no wrestler ever wishes harm upon another. Brown reached out to Drozdov, and in a testament to Drozdov's character, there was no animosity between them. Drozdov himself stated, "I have no hard feelings toward D'Lo because shit happens and everyone who gets involved in athletics, including WWE, knows the risks that exist. It was an accident." Dresden would die later in 2023, just over 50 years old. Test.
Last week, former WWE performer Andrew Test Martin died at the age of 33. Was the man a heavy steroid user? Absolutely. Was he a tremendous in-ring worker? Not really. But did he deserve to have his death at least acknowledged on WWE television? Well, unfortunately, the company failed that test on Monday night.
Andrew Martin, born on March 17, 1975 in Whitby, Ontario, Canada, began his journey in the world of professional wrestling with dreams as grand as his physical stature. Before stepping into the ring, Martin worked various jobs, including as a bouncer, which showcased his imposing presence. His foray into wrestling started when he trained under the watchful eye of wrestling legend Bret the Hitman Hart. In 1998, Martin's life took a pivotal turn when he signed with the World Wrestling Federation, now known as WWE. Initially appearing as a bodyguard for the band Motley Crue during an episode of WWF Sunday Night Heat, Martin quickly transitioned into an in-ring competitor. He was given the ring name Test, a nod to his role in testing the sound equipment during his time with the band. Test's early career was marked by a rapid ascent. His imposing figure and athleticism made him a standout among his peers. He aligned with the Corporation, a powerful stable that included some of the biggest names in the industry, such as The Rock and Vince McMahon. This association catapulted Test into the spotlight, and he soon found himself embroiled in high-profile storylines, including a romantic angle with Stephanie McMahon that culminated in a wedding on WWE programming. Test's championship resume expanded as he captured the European Championship in 2001, showcasing his versatility and appeal as a singles competitor. He didn't stop there. His hunger for gold led him to win the Hardcore Championship multiple times, a title that celebrated the more extreme, no-holds-barred aspect of professional wrestling. The pinnacle of Test's career arguably came when he teamed up with Booker T to form a dynamic and charismatic tag team. Together, they captured the World Tag Team Championship in 2001, demonstrating a chemistry that resonated with fans. Test's individual success also continued as he later won the Intercontinental Championship, further cementing his legacy as a decorated WWE superstar. During this period, Test was involved in several high-stakes matches, including battles at marquee events like SummerSlam and Survivor Series. His presence on the card was a testament to his drawing power and the faith WWE had in his abilities to entertain and perform at the highest level. Despite the physicality of the sport taking its toll, Test showed no signs of slowing down. His relentless pursuit of wrestling glory, however, came at a cost. Behind the scenes, the repeated impacts and injuries began to accumulate, leading Test to seek relief in ways that would later prove to be detrimental to his health. As the years progressed, the wear and tear on Test's body from the relentless WWE schedule began to manifest more visibly. Injuries became a more frequent part of his life, and the physical demands of being a professional wrestler started to take a significant toll. Despite this, Test continued to perform, driven by the adoration of fans and his passion for the sport. In 2004, Test faced a serious neck injury that required spinal fusion surgery. This injury sidelined him for over a year, and it was during this time that the first signs of trouble beyond the ring began to surface. The need for pain management and the pressure to return to the ring as soon as possible led Test to become increasingly reliant on prescription medication. Test made his return to WWE television in 2006 with a new, more aggressive persona. He joined the newly revived ECW brand, where he was positioned as one of the top stars. However, the landscape of professional wrestling was changing, and the physical and mental strain on Test was becoming more apparent. In 2007, Test was released from his WWE contract. The official reason given was a violation of the company's wellness program, which was implemented to address the health and well-being of WWE talent, including issues related to substance abuse. Test's release marked the end of his tenure with the company that had been his home for nearly a decade. Following his departure from WWE, Test continued to wrestle on the independent circuit. He appeared in various promotions, still showcasing the talent and charisma that had made him a star. Yet those close to him noticed a change. The once vibrant and larger-than-life wrestler was now battling demons that stemmed from his years in the ring and the substances he used to cope with the pain. On March 13, 2009, the wrestling world was shocked by the news of Test's untimely death. He was found in his Tampa, Florida apartment just days before his 34th birthday. The cause of death was later determined to be an accidental overdose of oxycodone, a powerful painkiller. Test's passing was a sobering reminder of the often unseen struggles faced by professional wrestlers and the potential consequences of a life spent in the punishing world of sports entertainment. Chris Kanyon. Chris's path to wrestling stardom began in earnest when he attended the University of Buffalo. Here, he not only pursued a degree in physical therapy, but also honed his athletic prowess, becoming a standout on the college's wrestling team. His dedication to the sport was evident, and it wasn't long before he set his sights on the professional stage. After college, Chris trained under the tutelage of the legendary wrestler and trainer, the Fabulous Moolah. He made his professional debut in the early 1990s, cutting his teeth in the independent circuits, where he quickly made a name for himself with his technical skill and natural charisma. His hard work paid off when he was signed by World Championship Wrestling, WCW, in 1995, marking the beginning of his rise to fame. In UCW, Chris Kanyon adopted the moniker Mortis and donned a mask, becoming a mysterious and enigmatic figure in the ring. His feud with Glacier, which was steeped in a martial arts storyline, became a highlight of WCW programming. Kanyon's athleticism and innovative maneuvers, such as the Kanyon Cutter, captivated audiences and showcased his potential as a future star. The turn of the millennium saw Kanyon's career reach new heights when WCW was acquired by its rival, World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE. It was a tumultuous time for many wrestlers, but Kanyon seized the opportunity. He made his WWE debut in 2001 and quickly became a fixture on WWE programming. His versatility shone through as he engaged in memorable storylines and matches, earning the respect of his peers and the adoration of fans. However, Kanyon's time in WWE was not without its challenges. Injuries began to take their toll, and he found himself sidelined, struggling to maintain the momentum he had worked so hard to build. Despite these setbacks, Kanyon's passion for wrestling never waned. He continued to perform whenever he could, determined to leave his mark on the sport he loved. Behind the bright lights of the wrestling world, Chris Kanyon was fighting battles far more daunting than any opponent he faced in the ring. As his career advanced, so did his struggle with bipolar disorder, a condition that causes extreme mood swings, including emotional highs and lows. The pressures of maintaining his wrestling persona, coupled with the rigorous demands of the industry, exacerbated his condition. Kanyon was often left to navigate the turbulent waters of his mental health in an era when such topics were seldom discussed openly, especially in the hyper-masculine environment of professional wrestling. In a profession where the portrayal of traditional masculinity was paramount, Kanyon feared that coming out as a gay man would spell the end of his career. He grappled with this internal conflict daily, the stress of which further impacted his mental health. The wrestling industry in the 1990s and early 2000s was not known for its acceptance of the LGBTQ+ community, and Kanyon was acutely aware of the potential backlash he could face from both fans and colleagues. Despite these personal struggles, Kanyon continued to perform at a high level, but the facade was cracking. Injuries had sidelined him, and the time away from the ring only amplified his personal issues. The once celebrated athlete found himself released from his WWE contract in 2004, a decision that sent him spiraling. The loss of his platform as a wrestler, the one place where he felt in control and admired, was a devastating blow. In the years following his release from WWE, Kanyon's life became a roller coaster of highs and lows. He attempted to revive his wrestling career on the independent circuit, but the shadow of what he had once been in WCW and WWE loomed large. It was during this period that Kanyon made the brave decision to publicly come out, becoming one of the first wrestlers to do so. In 2006, during a wrestling show in New York, he announced to the world that he was gay. In the years leading up to his death, Kanyon's mental health continued to decline. Friends and family reported that he was often reclusive, battling severe depression and the ongoing effects of his bipolar disorder. His public appearances became less frequent, and when he did step into the spotlight, it was clear that the vibrant wrestler who once captivated audiences was struggling deeply. Kanyon's final months were marked by a series of personal setbacks. His attempts to return to wrestling were met with limited success, and the physical toll of his career left him in constant pain. He wrestled with financial difficulties and the feeling that he had been ostracized from the wrestling community. Despite these challenges, Kanyon tried to remain connected to his fans, sharing his experiences and advocating for mental health awareness. On April 2nd, 2010, the wrestling world was shocked to learn that Chris Kanyon had passed away at the age of 40. His death was ruled a suicide, a tragic end to a life filled with so much promise and struggle. Sadly, ironically, he had declared himself a survivor just after Chris Benoit's death.
Chris Kanyon is one of those wrestlers who calls himself a survivor. He faced Benoit a number of times in the ring and faced the same personal demons.
September 14, 2003, I took 50 sleeping pills and tried to kill myself. So I could be another one of those statistics.
While some wrestlers and fans openly mourned his passing, sharing stories of his kindness and talent, there was a notable lack of acknowledgement from major wrestling organizations, including WWE. That brings us to the end of this video. For more interesting videos like this, click on the cards on your screen.